Hello, hello, are we live? I think so. Let me just see if I can find it. There we go. Whoops. Find it on my iPad so I can watch for comments. Ooh. Okay, sound is working and I am alive. Okay, so hopefully we get a few folks joining us today. I am going to be doing some live jelly printing. So I know people have a lot of questions about jelly printing. I've been just learning myself and I've been posting all of my videos of pretty much every single jelly print that I make. Even if it doesn't work out, typically I will post it anyway. So hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. And so I just thought it would be fun to do a quick live today so that people can see it in real time, because I know with my videos, I speed them up 2, 3, 4 times the speed, and I cut out a lot of the kind of in between stuff like the drying time and stuff. So I just thought it would be great to show you exactly what I am doing when I'm creating these jelly prints. I do them for background papers. I'm not doing them to frame artwork or anything. But I have done a couple of, sorry, my computer just went. I have done a couple of image transfers lately, but again, I'm making them more for background papers. So I'm not making them to make like some pretty piece of art that I would display somewhere. So if that's what you're interested in, then hopefully you'll learn some tips or tricks, and I will share with you what I know and what seems to be working for me. So if you do pop on, say hi in the comments. I will try to keep an eye on the comments. Ask your questions and I'll do my best to answer them. And why don't we flip the camera around and get started. So let me do that. How's that look? Okay, so I haven't zoomed in a ton. Just because I want you to kind of see my workspace. But I'm going to set my jelly plate aside. I have purchased from just the dollar store a cutting board because it had this nice white back, and I've put my jelly plate on there. And now it makes it a lot easier. I used to keep it in its case, the clamshell case that it came in. Was a little bit of work to do that, so I like this, and then I just cover it with a plain piece of paper when I'm done, and I put it away on a shelf. But I wanted to just start with this and show you a technique that I thought of. I was laying in bed this morning, not quite up yet, and all of a sudden I thought, hey, I might be able to use my stamping foam on my jelly plate. So I have played with it before on my jelly plate, but not to a very large extent. So I just thought it would be fun to give this a try. So give me 1 second. Sorry about that. So anyway, I've got my foam here. I have played with it a bit, so hopefully you can see I've got some patterns on some of it, but I have a nice blank piece I'm going to show you. I've got a couple of more. I did this a long time ago, actually. And I will tell you. So this is an embossing folder. I heated this up and then I pushed my embossing folder into it, and then I did it on both sides. So I haven't used this. I've done it, but I haven't used it. So I'm going to set that aside. And then the idea that I came up with this morning was trying my clay rollers. So if you've been following my videos, I recently discovered these 3D printed clay rollers, and I love them for jelly printing. Like I said, they're just 3D printed, so they're not consistent in terms of what they are. It just depends who makes them. They have different size openings, they're different sizes, they're just all different, which is fine because I don't need them to be anything specific. But these ones here are the perfect size. So you can see that one I rolled on there. And this one, I really like this pattern, I rolled on this one. So I'm going to show you one because once I've done one, they're all the same. This is this pattern here. What I thought might be neat was to actually try stamping it on the jelly plate and then roll it and see the difference. Yeah, I'm not too sure what it's going to be like. I have not tried this yet, so like I said, I just thought of it and I thought I would give it a try. Then this one here is actually a die cut. So I am on the Elizabeth Crafts design team, the Art Journal Specials design team, and I thought this is actually what kind of brought this up to me this morning. I've done this before, but this lovely lace pattern, which is from the Lace All Over die set, this is what I used on there. And same technique, just heat it up, push it in, lots of pressure, and we'll see how that stamps. So I'm just going to quickly show you how I did this one. So this is this really nice floral, but the downside is it has this big band in the middle. So unfortunately I didn't see that when I was purchasing it. Not great for what I want to use it for, but for this it will work because it's big enough to fit the entire block. So I just have my heat tool here. So I've got my Ranger heat tool, and I'm going to get this nice and warm. Get that heated up, and I am not seeing any comments, but if you do have any questions, please do pop them into the comments and I will do my best to answer. So I'm just going to heat that up. I don't have a lot of experience with this. Like I said, I've not used this a lot, so I don't really know how much heat it needs, but I don't think it's a lot. So just gonna really push that down. And what I have found with practicing is by the time I get here, it's worn off a little bit. So it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's perfect. I'm probably not going to get much of an image except for this center. This one came out a little bit better. So hopefully you can see the detail in that. Just checking my video there to see if you can see it. So anyway, so that's the technique. With some of them I did stand up to get more pressure onto them, so that might be more helpful. Now I'm just going to get my glass mat out of the way because I don't need that. And then we're going to start making jelly prints. So 1 second. Just need a little drink there. So I've got my brayer, my rubber brayer. I don't even know where I've got this one. I've had it for a very long time. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might have gotten it from close to my heart, but I'm not sure. So am I in the right position there? I think I am. So my jelly plate isn't overly clean. Not too worried about that, because whatever, it will blend in. And then I just got to kind of decide what my color scheme is going to be. So I haven't used blue for a while, so I think I'm going to try the blue and green. Whoops. Now I don't want a ton on here because I want it to dry quickly. So bit of blue, bit of green, and then they will kind of mix together on here. So that is the effect that I'm looking for. I've got a blob of something. I can see right there. So I want to get that off, because otherwise I have uneven paint. So just give that a nice roll, try and get it even, not too thick, right? I don't need a ton of paint on there because it just takes too long to dry if it's really thick. Roll that off onto my scrap paper. Make sure you remember to turn this thing over when you set it down, because I've forgotten that a couple of times. When you set it down on your paper this way, it dries and sticks to it. Not a good thing. Okay, so I use this all the time. This is my hair dryer. It is on the cool setting. There is no heat coming out of this. Let's just double check it. Yes, it is on cool because I can't read any of it anymore. And I'm just going to hit it just quickly. I don't want it to dry, but I want it to be tacky, because I do want the paint to lift. So let's give this one a try. I think that one might be a little bit clearer. And then we're going to stamp that on there. So nice even pressure. Let it sit for a second or two. And let's hope. I haven't done this before. Ooh, that worked really well. Okay, let's line that up. And since this one I double-sided, I'm gonna get covered in paint. Whatever. Oh, I just stuck my finger in it. Look at that. So this is definitely tacky. I can feel it kind of sticking to the plate. You can kind of hear it when I pick it up. There we go. So this is working quite nicely. Oh, could use a bit more pressure in the middle there, I guess, or maybe that bit is just a little bit wet. That's okay. I really like the distress look of it not being so crisp and even all the time. Okay, almost done that. This is cool. I'm liking this. And then the foam, I'll just rinse that under water and maybe a bit of soap, and that'll get that nice and clean. And then I just have a wet cloth here so I can wipe my hands. And then I need to wait for this to dry before I put the next layer on. So that's one of the keys to the jelly printing, is you want to dry between your layers, because otherwise your paint will blend into each other, right? Or it will start to lift the paint when you don't intend it to. Okay, so paint is off my hands. I'm gonna just hit it quickly with the hairdryer again because it was a little bit thicker in the middle there, and I want to make sure that it's good and dry. So that's really about all I need. I can check it. Yeah, see, that's dry. Okay, so doesn't take long at all. And then I'm gonna put some pink on it to pick that up. So the reason that I did pick these colors was because I have been lifting my prints on my previous prints. So this one I have done previously, and I wanted the backside to be kind of similar. So I'm going to go ahead and put my pink on there. Again, I don't need a ton, but with the pickup layer you need it a little bit thicker maybe. Again, not too thick, because the thicker it is, the longer it takes. But I need to make sure that everything is good and wet. So I gotta say, I don't think that's quite enough. I want to make sure that, like I said, everything is going to be wet, because this time when I put my paper on, it needs to be wet to pick up the rest of the print. Doesn't need to be super thick, it just needs to be wet. Okay, so I got all my corners. Take that off and then get that paper on there before things start to dry. This paint does dry very quickly. It is not fancy paint by any means. These ones are Montmartre. So I'm just getting them at a local craft store. You can see they are not expensive. But they work pretty good actually. And I have a couple of different versions of the same manufacturer. I do have a lot more of the Liquitex now, but not a ton, because I don't need them all to be the same, right? They don't all need to be that. So I'm just making sure that I've got like a lot of nice even pressure on here. One thing that makes this easier, and this is just printer paper. Typically I just use printer paper. But you can feel the dampness. So a little bit harder on the double-sided because this acrylic is holding the dampness underneath. So I have to be careful when I'm doing them double-sided. But when I put it down clean on a clean piece of printer paper, you can really tell quite easily if it's dry or not. Got a little bubble there. But all I have to do is just peel off the corner, and it looks pretty clean. I'm going to take another quick sip of water. Oh. Okay, I think my allergies are starting to affect me. Oh no, it's not ready yet. Okay, so I'm just going to hit it with this. Again, it does not take long. If you have thick paint, if you have thick paper, it's going to take longer. So lots of people ask, hopefully you can hear me over this hairdryer. Lots of people ask, how long, how long, how long? There really is no answer other than it depends. It depends how long on what you have done. So understanding the impact of those things really helps to understand how to make this work. So a few spots are not coming up, but I think it's going to be okay. I just don't have the patience, so. Uh-oh. The paper's ripping in the middle. I don't like that. Okay, so let's try something else. It's a little harder when it's stuck to this because now you can see, look, it's all wrinkled because I already started peeling it. But I'm getting some tearing, which rarely happens to me, but again, I didn't probably wait quite long enough for it to dry. Just gonna hold that down. There we go. But this is what jelly printing is, right? It happens. Okay, so there is my print using the foam. I really like that. I mean, it's kind of blocky, but that's okay. Like I said, it's background paper for me, so it will get cut up or it will be partially covered. So it doesn't bother me at all. So just get that put back down. Make sure I'm in screen. Okay, so since we did that one, let's give this a try. So I've used this twice. I keep forgetting about this silly band here. So let's see if I can remember this time. And why don't we, maybe we should just do the same colors. Oh, I need to set my print somewhere else to dry. There we go. Okay, so let's just try it with the same colors so that we can really see the difference. So it was not pink. Pink was my pickup layer, and I used blue and green. So we'll put some green and then some blue. And I'm not, oh, I should pick up that paper though. That's a little big piece of paper. All it really matters, it'll just stick to the next print. But yeah, like I said, I don't worry about what's left behind because I like that kind of grungy look. If it bothers you, then you can just use some masking tape. I know a lot of people use baby wipes. I find the masking tape works excellent. Sorry, painter's tape. I wouldn't use regular masking tape, I don't think. Okay, so I'm a little bit thicker on my paint this time. So I'm gonna roll it off, and then if I go over it again, it's gonna pick some of that up. So if you didn't know that, I've got something stuck on here again. There we go. Yeah, if you didn't know that, the more you roll it, the more paint it will pick up. Okay, again, remember, turn that upside down and see if I can remember this. So I'm gonna go this way. So I'm gonna start by putting it right, oh, this is not near dry enough. Almost forgot. So let's just get that a little tacky so that it will pick up. So if you don't understand why I'm doing that, if this is fully wet, when I put this on, it will pick up the paint, but it will leave tons of it behind. So by waiting for it to be tacky, that's what's going to give me that clear, more crisp print. So that's where you can see the difference here. See how much blue is kind of left behind in some areas. So see this one is really crisp, but some of them have a lot more. So that was just a little bit wetter, so it didn't pick it up as cleanly. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so let's give it a try, see if we're tacky enough. So I am putting a fair amount of pressure on this. There. So that's that spot. So I didn't put very much pressure up there. So that's why it didn't pick up as much paint there. Okay, so I think I'm good there. Lots of pressure. Oh, see, that's really nice. Okay, and then find that right spot. I'm going to be really happy that I finally got this one to work. So it's very tacky now, and it's picking it up really nicely. Just need to move that over a bit. Okay, so find the right spot right there. Hi, Phyllis. No, the pressure doesn't hurt the plate, but what I would say is not to put pressure on anything that's sharp. So this is not, oh, I forgot my spot. Oh, well, this is not sharp. It is, sorry, it is quite smooth. Okay. Look, I got distracted and I forgot to pick it up. So it's not a big deal. It actually came up quite cleanly, so it looks good, I think. So maybe I don't need to. I think what was happening before was I hadn't left it to dry long enough, and so those were very solid blue lines. So being clear, it looks not too bad. I'm just debating whether I attempt to clean that one up or not. Just put some pressure on there. There we go. Okay. So it is basically dry. I'm just going to hit it really quickly with that. So I had, about that same comment, Phyllis, I had used a tool. I can't remember what it was, but I had used like a scraper tool that had more of a sharper edge to it, and I kind of dragged it across to make a pattern, and it definitely left a mark. So I'm very cautious now about putting anything that has something sharp on it. But like I said, these are not sharp, like even this one or this one here, right? These are not sharp at all, so they don't end up leaving an imprint. And I know I haven't done it myself, but I have seen other artists use die cuts. So I kind of cringe, but they've used die cuts and put them on their Gelli plate to make a print. So obviously it didn't damage it, but yeah, that makes me nervous. But apparently it's okay. Again, I did not put very much paint on here. Woo, that might be a little bit too much. There we go. So just getting that pickup layer on again. Try and get it nice and even. Might be a little bit heavy. But you see how the color changes? So it does pick it up as you're rolling if you're not careful. Okay, so here's another one I've got, not the same colors, but similar. So let's put that one down. Very crooked. Oh well. And make sure that I've got that down nicely. Okay, and I'm going to hit that with the hairdryer again, just to make sure. Make sure I pull up that entire print. We'll see what the difference is. So this is what the first one was like. Ready. And let's see how it compares using the same pattern but in a different way. So So I can feel it's definitely feels much drier than when I put it down. So like I said, you can kind of tell by the feel of the paper, because as soon as you put that paper onto the paint, you can feel that dampness. Okay, I'm still not picking up this bottom here. Usually I do pretty good at getting them to come up clean, but it definitely does make a difference by having the paint on the other side. Like I said, this paint holds the dampness in, right? Okay, let's give it a try. So it's still leaving some behind. Ooh. Definitely having issues today. Yeah, I feel it. Look, the paint is still wet because that is double-sided. I can't feel the dampness the same. So probably should have just used clean paper for the live demo so that it would be faster, because it's really fast when you're just using the plain printer paper without the paint on the back. But right, like the acrylic is like a plastic, so it's holding that paint in there and keeping it wet. Yeah, so Phyllis, that's basically what the stamping foam is doing for me, right? This is a die cut. And so rather than putting it directly on my plate. So, I mean, Play-Doh or Silly Putty, it just wouldn't be as easy to hold firm, I guess, you know? Like this is solid, so when you're pushing it down, if you had Play-Doh or Silly Putty, once you push it down, it would start to spread. Make sense? Hopefully you can hear me over this. You have to let me know if that didn't come through, if you couldn't hear what I was saying there. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I have seen someone using die cuts and it doesn't appear to be an issue on the plate. I mean, so, but yeah, if, not sure if I'm saying it right, but Niamona, I follow her. I love watching her videos. So you could try, have a look at her videos and see how she does the die cutting. This is turning out beautiful. I am definitely not a pink person, so I will have to find somewhere to use this pretty pink. Look at that. Oh, I'm really happy with that. Finally got that to turn out nicely. So see the difference? So because I let it dry so long on the plate and get tacky, it really lifted up that background. Whereas when I stamped with the foam, a lot of the background ended up staying on the plate, which again, fine, nothing wrong. I still love this print. It's just showing the different ways that those prints will turn out depending on the method that you use. So I did promise that I would attempt an image transfer. So I know image transfers are very popular. Sorry, Phyllis, the foam is Simon Hurley stamping foam. So like any scrapbook store should have it, but you can just Google it. I had a look quickly before I came on, and I think they have it at Amazon and scrapbook.com and places like that too. So it should be pretty easy to find. It's just called Simon Hurley stamping foam. So yeah, so image transfers seem to be very popular. I haven't had a lot of success, but lately I've been doing okay. So this is a magazine. It is, I wouldn't say overly glossy, but this same magazine I was using on my other prints. I love the text and this architectural type of sketch. So again, I'm not using it for, you know, making a beautiful piece of artwork to frame. I'm just doing it for like background papers or cutting up or whatever. So that's the kind of print that works well for me. So here is what I've learned. Sorry, I don't have a lot of dust space. I got to move that out of the way. What I've learned about these kinds of prints is you need to use very thin paint. So I was going to use a dark brown. I've just stuck all of my paints. Look, all of my paints hang on the wall beside me there. So I pulled them all down and brought them over here. That one's really not. I thought I had purchased a dark brown. It would be in one of these tubes if I did. So this is still the Montmartre. Oh, I think I found it. There it is. So this is burnt umber. So I'm going to try the burnt umber. So a lot of people do it with black. Black is good. But I like to mix it up. So I've done one in purple and dark blue. So we're going to try the burnt umber today. So to me, the biggest key is to not use a ton of paint. So I'm going to try to make sure that it is thin enough that this will work. So you can already see it's getting kind of transparent as I roll it out, so that's good. I've had some people provide me some guidance on my videos, and that's definitely one of them, is to make sure that your paint, your first layer, is quite thin. So again, I'm going to take some of it off. Now it's really thin on one side. Try and keep it even. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. Don't want to go too far. Okay, and then I'm going to put this down. I'm going to go right there. Okay, and then I do have this silly little tool. It's actually meant for a stamping platform. So I'm just giving that some nice even pressure. I do find I always end up with little like blobs on mine. I don't know if it's because my plate is a little bit uneven, or I don't know. It's the way that I put it down. Let's see, is that working? Look at that, it worked. Ooh, that's like the cleanest print I've ever had. Imagine that. So I don't know how well you can see this. Let's see. There's a bit of a delay, so I just need to wait to see. It is a little bit hard to see. It just looks like random scribbles. But here, I'm going to hold that up so you can see. It is there. There's still some other little bits, but not a ton. So this worked. I'm impressed. So you saw that wasn't very long. I gave it a really good rub down. Oh yeah, no, that's right. But I didn't keep it on there for very long, and it really picked it up nicely. So you can see down here where it's all blotchy. That's because there was already paint on the plate. So it's left that there. But that's okay. Again, oh look, I did it. See? I put that down the wrong way because I was too excited about this working. Okay, so I need to pick a pickup layer color. So I love using the metallics. So all of my metallics are Liquitex. That's unbleached titanium, which is maybe a good option, but I think I'm going to use a metallic. One thing I do find is they come out very light. They're quite transparent, which is something I wasn't necessarily expecting, but I don't want to use gold. I feel like it's not going to show up. So maybe let's try the silver, because it almost looks white when I do it. So let's try this and hope that it works. This is one of the biggest struggles that I have, is just figuring out what colors work best together. So like I probably should do just some tests and try out different colors. But I think a big part of the issues that I have stem from the fact that the paints are transparent, right? Not all of them are, but typically the cheaper ones, from what I've got, because I don't really have a lot of not cheap ones. They tend to be more transparent because they're not heavy body. So I think that's the right term for the thicker paints. The heavy body ones are definitely not going to be transparent. Okay, let's get this on there real quick. So I'm just going to use a regular piece of printer paper this time, if I can pick it up. Get that on there. I was doing, I don't know if you saw my videos with my other image transfers, but I was using thicker paper, but I also think my pickup layers were too thin. So the paint, by the time I put the paper down, the paint was already dry, so it didn't pick up on the corners very well. So again, just like before, I can really feel the dampness in this on the paper. So that helps me to determine when I should pull this print. So I'm going to hit it with this cool hair dryer. No heat. Heat is bad. Gelli plate doesn't like the heat. I don't know that from experience, but I've heard a lot of other artists say that. So I'm not going to test it out. So this has no heat. It's just air. And it should be pretty quick, because like I said, with the other ones I was doing them double-sided, so it held the dampness in. Okay, it's feeling pretty good. But I just want to make sure. I think rubbing my hand over also helps with the drying process, right? Because even though it's heat, it's not hot air. But it just helps it to dry a little bit. Just looking at that comment. Yeah, that's what I think too, Phyllis. They do have, so this one has a solid square. This one has a half square. So I think that is telling you whether or not it's opaque, right? That one has a solid. But I pretty much just pick them up because I like the color and deal with the results. But like I said, I really should do probably some tests with some of them, because I tend to make these and I think my colors are great because they're like opposite on the color wheel, and then when I pull it up, it's kind of like bleh. Just looks dull. Okay, I should be, yeah, so this is coming up much cleaner now. I've got some nice funky colors at the bottom here because I'm finally picking up the rest of that bits from the previous pull. Oh, I think this is gonna look good. So I think the silver was the right choice. I'm not sure that it's gonna register through the camera, because most of the times when I use the silver, I've had comments with people saying, oh, it's white, but it's not. It is silver. And look at that. So this definitely my first fully successful image transfer. Whoops. So hopefully you can see the metallic in it. But as I said, it looks white, like it's not. You can see that it's different than the white paper. But when you just look at the image, it's so pale, but it's pretty, very, very nice. So I'm really happy with that one. That one turned out great. So I wonder if I should try another one. Since we're here, let's try this other side. And we'll do a different color this time. So let's do black. So black is typically what you will see people doing image transfers in. Not always, but a lot. So let's just give it a try. So again, this is the Montmartre, and it is an more inexpensive, right? Like it's definitely not an expensive paint. But I like it, and I find that it does give me really nice coverage. See, I feel like I'm getting a really nice coverage on here. I am gonna pull it off. Just because, again, I want it to be thin. There, and then get this on here before it dries. Don't leave that upside down. I want it like maybe about there. Okay, get my little burnisher here. Correct term is a baron, but since it's just this weird cheapy thing, I don't know if you would technically call it a baron or not. Okay. What do we think? Is that the same amount of time as last time? Ooh, I think so. Ooh, might have been a little bit too long. I don't like that. It's got a bunch of blobs there. Yeah, definitely not as nice. See all the white? So could be the paint. Could be that I left it on too long, not long enough. So I'm not getting a ton of crisp image there, but that's okay. And then I think with that one, it's black, I would use maybe this copper color. Should work okay, but let me just make sure that's dry. Okay, and then should have time for at least one more print. So when I sit down and do a jelly printing session, usually I spend about an hour. I often get like 4 or 5 prints. This is not enough. Maybe it is. See how thin that is? So I think this is my problem. I think I am not using as much paint on my pickup layer as I should sometimes. There we go. That looks a bit better. Like I said, I don't want it to be super thick because I don't want to wait. I don't have the patience. But I need it to pick it up, right? So let's do another plain piece of paper. Make sure it's adhered everywhere. But for me, that's why I'm sticking with the printer paper now. This is faster. But I have done a few on cardstock. If I'm thinking that I need to use it for something different and I want it to be thicker, then I'll use a bit of a lightweight cardstock. So like maybe a 60-pound. Wouldn't want to go too much heavier unless you really needed the strength for something. Okay, that's feeling pretty good already. Let's see. Looks pretty good. So see the difference that makes in time when you do the single-sided paper. So yeah, this isn't really looking like much. So, whoops. You can see some of it, so it's kind of like a grungy background, little bit of text here and there. So it'd still make a decent background paper, but definitely not as successful as the first one. Right? Look at how good this first one looks. Yeah, I really like that one. But that's okay. It's just a piece of paper and a bit of paint. Okay, so let's do something else. What colors do we want to try? How about we try some orange? And we'll mix it with a bit of red if I can find my red. Where did my red go? At the bottom of the pile. So downside to these paints, when I put the lids on, they cracked. So now I have press and seal on them. Keep them sealed. So if you happen to pick any of these up, be super careful putting that lid back on. I just squeezed too much and it just pop. And I'm really hoping that I don't waste a whole tube of paint because they're pretty new. I haven't used them much. Change my mind a little bit more. So I probably have too much paint on this time. So I will have to probably take some off. But we'll get it spread out first and then decide. Yeah, quite thick. Let's get some of that off. Oh, hey, Ellen. I'm glad that you popped on. It's okay. You can go back and watch from the beginning later if you want. Okay. So what should we do this time? Do we want to do, oh, that's right. I pulled out some of my embossing folders to try. So I have done it before with the embossing folders. Which one do I want to use? What look do I want? I'm thinking I'm going to go with this one. So with the embossing folder, this one has text on it, so I need to make sure I use the right side. So if I use this side, so this is the side that's sticking out, it's going to put the letters down backwards, so when it flips over, it's going to look correct. I mean, you can't read it anyway, but still. So I'm going to go like this. I'm not sure that I'm totally dry, or not totally dry, but tacky enough yet. But I've got a little blob of something there. So let's get rid of that. And we'll just go with it. Okay. So give that a good firm push. And with this, you can see the paint sticking. Can you see that? Okay, I get that one. Okay, let's pick that up. So not crispy clean, but again, that's because I didn't wait long enough for it to dry. But it's okay, because I'm okay with that grungy kind of look. See, it's getting a bit crisper there. So this one probably will be decent. Some good pressure on there to make sure I get that paint to stick. Hopefully it doesn't have too much paint on it that it puts back down, but no, it's looking good. Okay, that worked. So I mean, it is grungy, like that's the whole look of this one anyway, so that doesn't take it away from the print. So I just want to make sure, because there's definitely some wet spots in here. I'm just looking back at some of my other prints. I've got the stuff in here. Just to see my color. Oh, I was thinking maybe purple. I'm not sure. Because again, then what I find is I'll put the purple down and it like overpowers that orange because the orange isn't totally opaque. So I really like that last one with the silver, so I'm going to do the silver again. Am I dry enough? Yeah. Messy hands. So let's put some silver down. Put a little bit more this time so that I know that I have enough. And then you see that I am, you might wonder my words are sideways, but that's okay because typically my thinking with these pages is that they're going to be landscape, because they'll go like folded in half in a mini album, like a junk journal, something like that. So that's kind of my thinking. So I'm good with it being sideways like that. Okay, so let's just do another clean piece of paper and get that stuck on there. Okay, and then this time, instead of pulling out my hairdryer, maybe I'll just show you my pile. Look at this. This is half of my pile of prints. Yeah, I still have another pile. A lot of them now are double-sided. This one was awful. I didn't like it. There's red and then black, and anyway, you can maybe see a bit of texture in the background. So I was doing a print with a stencil, and so I picked up the yellow off of the plate with this, and then that actually looks not too bad now. Looks better. And then this one, so this was using some lace, and it gave a really kind of cool mermaidy feel. And then, oh, I don't even think I've shared these videos yet for these. This one took a long time. So these are videos that are coming out still. These two haven't been posted yet, so I won't tell you my secrets on those ones yet. This was like a foam stencil with the gold and the silver, and then this was the blue and the silver with the same one, and then this was like basting brush. So I just put a layer of paint down and ran it through just to see. I hadn't done it before. It's kind of weird. Same thing. This is just a different basting brush. These videos are all out there. This one, I love this one. I love this one. So this is using water and letting it dry. So you put down your paint, spritz it with water, let it bloom, put down another layer. I can't remember if this was more. I think this was 2 layers of blooming paint, and then the blue picked it up. But it's almost blinding. It's very bright. And these circles, if you've seen any of my previous videos, lots and lots of circles. So that's a template, and then I stamped an image inside to get that pattern. And I love, they're so much fun. So this was one of the ones that I picked up the color, and then I put on top another one. More circles. That one, see, that one didn't show up very well. It just didn't pick up the paint enough. Oh, and this one I like too. So again, I laid down the stencil, and then I stamped through the openings, and that same, just different color. And then that was cardboard. So all of these, there's videos on all of them. More circles. Really like those circles. These were pickups. Picking up through Punchinella. More prints. This was a napkin ring that I rolled on to get a pattern. You get patterns from so many different things. See, this one didn't turn out well at all. This, I think, is an embossing folder one, but the colors just didn't work. More circles. Oh, and there's one of the rollers, the clay rollers, with a bunch of grunge left over. This one I just posted, I think, yesterday. So this was one of the transfers, but it's on heavy paper. So this is a book page, quite heavy, and it did not stick. So I don't think my pickup layer was thick or wet enough. So it didn't pick up, but the image transferred quite nicely. This kind of in the middle part, I ripped the page and put it together, and I don't even think there was much of an image in the middle, but I just thought it looked kind of like a mountain like that. And then that's a really pretty clay roller. So this one I think I did during live as well, and again, more of that book paper. Another one, that was music paper. This is another roller. So anyway, just more and more and more. So many things. They are so much fun. So let's see how this one is now. Feels like it might be okay. Might be a little bit damp. Let's see. No, it looks good. So, what's this gonna look like? It's very red. I thought it would be more orange. It's very red. Look at that. Well, kind of pink. So you can see the text. So it looks pretty cool. but the only downside is the lines when you're using those embossing folders, right? And I don't know how to get rid of those. Yeah, so there we go. Any other questions? Again, I started out with the stamping foam, and I made this one with the stamping foam, and then I made this one using the actual roller that I used on the stamping foam. So same colors, just slightly different technique. And then 1 and 2 image transfers. And then this one with the embossing folder, which it was this way. So you can't read it, but you can identify the letters, like that says today. So there's a couple of words in there. So anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prints in an hour. So that's not too bad. Let me just flip this around if I can remember how to do that. Thanks, Phyllis. I'm glad that you were able to join me, and I really hope that I answered some questions and showed you some tips there. And that's really stuck again. Sorry, I got distracted. My brayer was stuck down. Anyway, I love the jelly printing. It's just fun. I have used some of my prints to make some stuff. So if you do want to see, just look through my Facebook or my Instagram page. You can see all the stuff that I've made with the jelly printing. I think it's just so much fun, and it's you kind of never know what you're gonna get, right? It's different pretty much every time, even if I use the same tools and the same paints. But it is a ton of fun, and it's really great to get your creative outlet. Thanks, Ellen. Yeah, the embossing folders are pretty cool, and I was using them months ago. I had done a few prints with them. I can't remember when, like quite a few months ago, and then I kind of forgot about them. So all of a sudden I thought, oh, I should try out a couple more embossing folders, because they do make some really great impressions on the jelly plate. But then there's just so many things you can use on your jelly plate. So anyway, I really do hope you enjoyed today, and don't hesitate to ask me questions in the comments. I'm happy to help. And anyway, have a great day, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.